Kang Do-hyun did not want to be here. He stood alone in a narrow corridor of the Valori diplomatic ship, his hands deep inside a broken air vent. The ship was called the Starlight Accord, and it was the most beautiful vessel he had ever seen. The walls were smooth like glass. The lights were soft and golden. Everything smelled clean and fresh, like a forest after rain. But Do-hyun hated it. He was a maintenance engineer from Earth. He fixed things. Pipes, wires, machines. That was his life. 6 months ago, Earth's government had sent him here as part of a cultural exchange program. They said it was an honor. They said he would represent humanity to the great Valori Empire. Do-hyun knew the truth. He was not here because he was special. He was here because humans were still new to the galaxy. The Valori and the other alien races did not trust humans yet. They thought humans were loud. They thought humans were dangerous. They thought humans were like wild animals that had just learned to walk. So they sent people like Do-hyun to prove them wrong. Quiet people. Careful people. People who would keep their heads down and not cause trouble. Do-hyun was very good at not causing trouble. He pulled a broken fan blade from the vent and dropped it into his tool bag. The Valori were elegant creatures. They were tall and thin, with pale purple skin and silver hair. Their eyes were large and beautiful, like gems. They moved like dancers. They spoke in soft, musical voices, and they looked at Do-hyun like he was dirt on their clean floors. Not all of them, of course. Some were polite. Some even smiled at him, but most simply looked through him, as if he was not really there. He was a human. He was not worth their attention. Do-hyun did not mind. He had learned to be invisible. He ate alone in his small room. He worked alone in empty corridors. He counted the days until his rotation ended and he could go home. 112 days left. He finished his repair and closed the vent cover. The air started flowing again, cool and sweet. He wiped his hands on his uniform and picked up his tool cart. Time to move to the next job. The corridor was quiet. This part of the ship was near the royal quarters, where the queen and her family lived. Do-hyun was not supposed to be here, but the broken vent had been marked as urgent. He walked quickly, keeping his eyes down. Then he heard the thunder. Not real thunder. Footsteps. Heavy, armored footsteps, coming fast. Do-hyun pressed himself against the wall as 6 royal guards ran past him. They wore silver armor and carried weapons that glowed with blue light. Their faces were hard and focused. "Find her!" one of them shouted. "She cannot have gone far." They did not even look at Do-hyun. They ran past him and disappeared around a corner. Do-hyun let out a breath. Royal guards made him nervous. They were the best warriors in the Valori Empire. They protected the queen and her family. If they were running like this, something was very wrong. He should leave. He should go back to his room and pretend he saw nothing. He started to push his cart forward. Something hit his legs. Do-hyun stumbled and looked down. A child was there. A small girl, no more than 7 or 8 years old. She had the same lavender skin as all Valori, but her silver hair was messy and wild. Her large eyes were full of fear. She looked up at him and pressed one small finger to her lips. Then, before Do-hyun could speak, she ducked behind his tool cart and made herself as small as possible. Do-hyun stared at her. His heart was beating fast. He knew who this was. Every human on the ship had been shown pictures during their briefing. This was Princess Yuna, the only child of Queen Sujin, the heir to the Valori Empire, and she was hiding behind his cart like a scared rabbit. "Little one," he whispered. "What are you?" More footsteps. Do-hyun looked up and saw Captain Hae-jin coming around the corner. She was the head of the Royal Guard, a tall woman with cold eyes and a scar across her cheek. She moved like a predator, quick and dangerous. She stopped in front of Do-hyun. Her eyes scanned him from head to toe. "Human," she said. Her voice was sharp like a blade. "The princess. Have you seen her?" Do-hyun felt the cart shake slightly. The little girl was trembling. He thought about his assignment. He thought about the rules. He thought about how much trouble he would be in if he lied to the head of the royal guard. Then he thought about the fear in those big silver eyes. "No, ma'am," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "Haven't seen anyone." Captain Haijun stared at him. Her eyes were like ice. Do-hyun felt sweat on the back of his neck, but he did not look away. He did not blink. The captain's jaw tightened. For a long moment, she did not move. Then she turned and walked away, her boots echoing on the floor. Do-hyun waited until the sound faded completely. Then he let out a long, slow breath. His hands were shaking. He had just lied to the most dangerous woman on the ship. Behind him, a small voice whispered 2 words. "Thank you." Do-hyun closed his eyes. 112 days left. And somehow, he knew his quiet, invisible life had just ended. Princess Yuna refused to leave. Do-hyun had tried everything. He had asked nicely. He had explained that her mother would be worried. He had told her that he could get in very serious trouble. But the little girl just crossed her arms and shook her head. "I am not going back," she said. Her voice was small but firm. "You cannot make me." Do-hyun looked at her. She was sitting on his tool cart like it was a throne. Her silver hair was still messy. Her royal dress was wrinkled and dirty at the edges. She did not look like a princess. She looked like a stubborn child who had run away from home, which, Do-hyun supposed, was exactly what she was. "Your Highness," he said carefully, "the guards are looking for you. If they find you here with me, then do not let them find me." Do-hyun opened his mouth. Then he closed it again. He had no idea what to say. Footsteps echoed somewhere in the distance. Yuna's eyes went wide with fear. Without thinking, Do-hyun grabbed his cart and started walking quickly toward the maintenance section of the ship. The princess held on tight and did not make a sound. They reached his quarters 5 minutes later. It was a small room with a bed, a desk, and a tiny bathroom. Nothing fancy, nothing comfortable. But it was quiet and out of the way, and no one ever came here. Do-hyun closed the door and turned to look at the princess. She had climbed off the cart and was now standing in the middle of his room, looking around with curious eyes. "This is where you live?" she asked. "Yes, it is very small, I know. Why are there no decorations?" Do-hyun sighed. "Because I am not here to decorate. I am here to work." Yuna walked over to his bed and sat down on the edge. She was so small that her feet did not touch the floor. She swung them back and forth, looking at everything but Do-hyun. "Your Highness," Do-hyun said. He sat down on his desk chair, keeping some distance between them. "Why did you run away?" For a long moment, Yuna did not answer. Her feet stopped swinging. She stared at the floor. "My tutors are mean," she said quietly. "They make me study all day. History, politics, diplomacy, languages. They never let me play. They never let me rest. And when I make mistakes, they tell me I am a disappointment." Don felt something twist in his chest. "And your mother?" "Mother is busy." Yuna's voice became even smaller. "She is always busy. I have not seen her in 16 days. I tried to go to her room yesterday, but the guard said she was in an important meeting. She is always in important meetings." She looked up at Do-hyun. Her eyes were wet, but no tears fell. "I just wanted to be somewhere quiet," she said. "Somewhere no one would find me. I did not mean to bother you." Do-hyun looked at this small, lonely princess. He thought about his own little sister back on Earth. Her name was MeHFY. When she was small, she used to hide in his room during thunderstorms. She would crawl under his blanket and hold his hand until the storm passed. He had not seen. MeHFY in almost a year. Do-yoon stood up and walked to his small supply shelf. He pulled out a packet of dried fruit that he had brought from Earth. It was nothing special, just something to remind him of home. He opened it and held it out to Yuna. "Here," he said. "Are you hungry?" Yuna stared at the fruit. She looked confused. "You are giving me food? You look hungry." "What?" "You are supposed to bow to me. You are supposed to call me Your Highness." Do-hyun shrugged. "I did call you that. Now, I am offering you food. Are you going to take it or not?" Yuna's mouth opened, then closed. Then, slowly, she reached out and took a piece of dried mango. She bit into it, and her eyes went wide. "This is sweet." "It is mango. From Earth. Earth has things like this?" Do-hyun smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Earth has many things. Oceans that go on forever. Mountains that touch the sky. Forests so thick you cannot see the sun. We have animals of all kinds. Dogs that love you no matter what. Cats that pretend they do not care but secretly do. Birds that can copy your voice. Yuna ate more fruit. Her eyes were bright now, not scared. "Tell me more." So Do-hyun told her. He told her about summer rains and autumn leaves. He told her about snow and how children build people out of it. He told her about his home, a small apartment in a crowded city, and how his mother would cook soup on cold nights. He told her about MeHFY and how she used to follow him everywhere like a small shadow. Hours passed. Yuna asked question after question. She laughed at his stories. She gasped at his descriptions. For a little while, she was not a princess. She was just a child, listening to tales about a strange and wonderful world. Then there was a knock on the door. Yuna's face went pale. Do-hyun stood up slowly, his heart pounding. The door opened. Captain Hae-jin stood there, her face like stone. Behind her were 2 guards. "We tracked the princess to this section," the captain said. Her eyes moved past Do-hyun and found Yuna on the bed. "So, the human lied to me after all." Do-hyun did not move. She was scared. I did not want to hand her over to people who were scaring her. The captain's eyes flashed dangerously. "You dare, Hae-jin." Yuna's voice was quiet but clear. "He was kind to me. He told me stories about his home. He gave me food. Do not hurt him." Captain Hae-jin looked at the princess. Then she looked at Do-hyun. Then she looked at the empty packet of dried fruit on the floor. Something in her expression changed. It was small, just a tiny shift. But Do-hyun saw it. "The queen will want to speak with you," she said finally. "Both of you." She stepped aside. Yuna slid off the bed and walked to the door. But before she left, she turned back to Do-hyun. "Will you come with me?" she asked. "I do not want to go alone." Do-hyun looked at the little princess with her messy hair and hopeful eyes. He thought about all the trouble waiting for him. He thought about his quiet, invisible life. Then he nodded. "Okay," he said. "Let us go together." The Queen's audience chamber was the most beautiful room Do-hyun had ever seen. The ceiling was so high it seemed to touch the stars. The walls were made of something that looked like crystal, and they glowed with soft silver light. The floor was smooth black stone that reflected everything like a dark mirror. At the far end of the room sat a throne made of white metal, and on that throne sat Queen Sujin. She was exactly what the story said. Tall and elegant, with silver hair that fell past her shoulders like a waterfall. Her skin was the palest lavender, almost white. Her eyes were like diamonds, cold and bright. She wore a simple white dress, but somehow it looked more powerful than any armor. Do-hyun had never felt so small in his life. The chamber was full of people. Valori nobles in fine clothes, military officers in silver uniforms, and Ambassador Taiwu, the human representative, who looked like he was about to be sick. Captain Hai-jin walked Do-yoon to the center of the room. Yuna was already there, standing before her mother with her head down. Do-hyun stopped a few feet away and tried to remember how to breathe. "Can Do-hyun," Queen Sujin said. Her voice was soft, but it filled the entire chamber. "Maintenance engineer from Earth, assigned to this ship 4 months ago. Your records say you are quiet and hardworking. They say you cause no trouble." She paused. Her eyes were like ice. "And yet here you stand, accused of hiding my daughter from her protectors, of lying to the head of my royal guard, of taking my child to your private quarters." The room was silent. Do-hyun could hear his own heartbeat. "What do you have to say for yourself, human?" Do-hyun looked at the queen. Every part of him wanted to kneel, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness. That was what he was supposed to do. That was what would be safe. But then he thought of Yuna. He thought of her scared eyes and her trembling voice. He thought of a little girl who had not seen her mother in 16 days. He bowed his head in respect. But when he spoke, his voice was steady. "With respect, Your Majesty," he said, "your daughter was scared. She was not running from you. She was running from something that hurt her. I did not hide her from you. I just gave her a place to breathe." The crowd gasped. Ambassador Taiwu made a sound like a dying animal. But Do-hyun did not stop. "When she came to me, she was shaking. She was crying. She told me her tutors are cruel. She told me she has not seen you in more than 2 weeks. She told me she feels alone." Queen Sujin's face did not change. But Do-hyun saw something move in her eyes. "I know I am just a human," he continued. "I know I have no right to speak about royal matters. But I grew up with a little sister. I know what a scared child looks like. And I could not turn her away. I could not hand her over to guards who were chasing her like she was a criminal." He took a breath. "I am sorry for lying to Captain Hai-jin. That was wrong. But I am not sorry for helping your daughter. If that means I must be punished, then I accept it." The chamber was completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Queen Sujin looked at Do-hyun for a long moment. Then she turned to her daughter. "Yuna," she said. Her voice was quieter now. "Is this true? Are your tutors cruel to you?" Yuna looked up at her mother. Her eyes were wet. "They call me stupid when I make mistakes," she whispered. "They say I'm not worthy of being your daughter. They make me study from morning until night. I have no friends. I have no one to play with. And you." She stopped. A tear rolled down her cheek. "You are never there. I miss you, Mother. I miss you so much." Something changed in Queen Sujin's face. The ice in her eyes cracked, just a little. Her perfect posture shifted. For one moment, she did not look like a queen. She looked like a mother who had just realized something terrible. "Leave us," she said. The nobles looked at each other. They did not move. I said, "Leave us." The queen's voice was harder now. "Everyone except Captain Hai-jin, the human, and my daughter." Now, the chamber emptied quickly. Ambassador Taiwu tried to catch Do-hyun's eye. But Do-hyun was watching the queen. When the doors closed, Queen Sujin stood from her throne. She walked down the steps slowly, her dress flowing behind her. She stopped in front of Yuna. "My child," she said softly. "I did not know." "You did not ask," Yuna replied. Her voice was small and broken. Queen Sujin closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were wet. "You were right," she whispered. "I did not ask. I was so busy trying to prepare you for the future that I forgot about the present. I was so focused on making you strong that I did not see I was making you sad." She knelt down. The queen of the Valori Empire knelt on the cold floor in front of her little girl. "I am sorry, Yuna," she said. "I am so sorry." Yuna stood frozen for a moment. Then she threw herself into her mother's arms. The two of them held each other, and for the first time, Do-hyun saw them not as royalty, but as a family. After a long moment, Queen Sujin looked up at Do-hyun. Her eyes were different now, warmer, grateful. "You did something no one else had the courage to do," she said. "You told me the truth about my own daughter. You showed her kindness when she needed it most." She stood, still holding Yuna's hand. "I was going to punish you," she continued. "But I see now that you deserve something else." She looked at Captain Hae-jin. "From this day forward, Kang Do-hyun will spend time with the princess. He will be her companion. He will teach her about Earth and about humans. Consider it an official assignment." Do-hyun blinked. "Your Majesty? My daughter needs someone who sees her as a child, not as a princess," Queen Sujin said. "You have already proven you can do that. Will you accept?" Do-hyun looked at Yuna. She was staring at him with wide, hopeful eyes. "Please, Do-hyun," she said. "Please say yes." Do-hyun thought about his quiet life. He thought about being invisible. He thought about all the ways this could go wrong. Then he smiled. "Okay," he said. "I will stay." The days that followed were strange and wonderful. Every morning, Do-hyun would finish his maintenance work early. Then he would walk to the royal garden, where Princess Yuna would be waiting for him. She always ran to meet him, her silver hair flying behind her, her face bright with happiness. "Do-hyun Appa," she would shout. "What are we doing today?" Do-hyun had never been called Appa before. It was a Korean word his sister used to use. It meant older brother. When Yuna first said it, his heart had felt tight and warm at the same time. He taught her simple things at first. Card games from Earth, how to make shapes with string, how to fold paper into birds and boats. Yuna had never played games like these before. In the Valori Empire, children of royalty were taught serious things: war, politics, history. No one had ever taught her how to have fun. "Look." Yuna held up a paper airplane. It was crooked and messy, but she was proud of it. "I made it myself." "Good job," Do-hyun said. "Now throw it." She threw it. The plane flew 3 feet and crashed into a bush. Yuna laughed. It was the best sound Do-hyun had heard in months. The Valori court did not know what to make of this. They watched from windows and doorways as the human taught their princess to play in the garden. Some of them whispered in angry voices. A human spending so much time with the heir to the empire? It was wrong. It was dangerous. It was beneath the dignity of the royal family. But Queen Sujin said nothing against it. So the whispers stayed whispers. Captain Hae-jin often stood guard during these meetings. At first, she watched Do-hyun with suspicious eyes. She stood stiff and silent, like a statue made of ice. But as the days passed, something changed. One afternoon, Yuna was playing a game where she had to catch a small ball before it hit the ground. She missed again and again, and each time she missed, she laughed harder. Do-hyun laughed too. Even Captain Hae-jin's mouth twitched, just a little. "You are strange, human," she said later, when Yuna had gone to wash up for dinner. Do-hyun looked at her. "Strange how?" "You do not bow to her. You do not speak to her like she is royalty. You correct her when she is wrong. You tell her no when she asks for things she should not have." Hae-jin frowned. Any Valori who treated the princess this way would be punished. Do-hyun shrugged. "She is a kid. Kids need boundaries. They need someone to tell them what is right and what is wrong. If everyone just says yes to everything, how will she ever learn?" Hae-jin was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You humans are different from what I expected." "Different how?" "You treat everyone the same. Commoner or queen, rich or poor. You do not seem to care about rank or title." She looked at him with something that might have been respect. Is that normal for your people? Do-hyun thought about it. I think so, he said. We believe that everyone deserves respect. It does not matter who your parents are or how much money you have. What matters is how you treat people. Haijin nodded slowly. Perhaps there is wisdom in that. As the weeks passed, Queen Sujin began to change to Dot at first. She only visited Yuna for formal dinners. She sat at the head of a long table, with servants standing behind her and guards at every door. She asked about lessons and studies. The conversations were stiff and awkward, but slowly things got better. One evening, the queen came to the garden. She did not bring guards. She did not bring servants. She came alone, wearing a simple dress instead of her royal robes. Yuna was showing Dawn how to braid grass into a chain. When she saw her mother, she froze. Mother? She said, what are you doing here? Queen Sujin looked uncertain. For the first time, she did not look like a queen. She looked like a mother who had forgotten how to be a mother. I thought, she said slowly, I thought perhaps I could join you, if that is acceptable. Yuna stared at her. Then her face broke into the biggest smile Do-hyun had ever seen. Yes, she shouted. Come sit with us. I will teach you how to make a grass chain. The queen sat on the ground. Her beautiful dress got dirty. Her perfect hair got messy. But she did not seem to care. She watched as Yuna showed her how to twist the grass, and she listened to every word. Do-hyun watched them together. He felt like he was seeing something rare and precious. A broken family learning how to heal. That night, after Yuna had gone to bed, Queen Sujin found Do-hyun in the corridor. Thank you, she said quietly. Do-hyun bowed his head. I did not do anything, Your Majesty. You did everything. She looked at him with soft eyes. You reminded me that I am not just a queen. I am a mother. I had forgotten that. She paused. Yuna talks about you constantly. She says you are her best friend. She says you are family. Do-hyun felt his chest tighten. She is a good kid. She is, the queen agreed. And she is better because of you. She started to walk away. Then she stopped and looked back. My people think humans are wild and dangerous, she said. They think you are too young as a species to be trusted. But I am beginning to think they are wrong. There is something special about your people, Kang Do-hyun. Something we Valori have forgotten. What is that? Do-hyun asked. The queen smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Heart, she said. You have so much heart. She walked away into the golden light, leaving Do-hyun alone with his thoughts. He stood there for a long time, thinking about home, thinking about Yuna, thinking about what it meant to have heart. Then, an alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed on the walls. A voice came over the speakers, speaking fast and frightened. All personnel to emergency stations. The ship is under attack. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Do-hyun's blood went cold. Somewhere on this ship, a little girl was about to be very scared. He started running. The ship was chaos. Do-hyun ran through corridors filled with smoke and screaming alarms. Guards rushed past him, weapons drawn. Explosions shook the walls. The beautiful crystal lights flickered and died, replaced by angry red emergency lights. He had to find Yuna. The attack had come from nowhere. A group called the Corvin Syndicate, pirates and rebels who hated the Valori Empire. They wanted money. They wanted power. And they wanted the princess. Do-hyun pushed through a crowd of panicked workers and turned toward the royal quarters. That was where Yuna should be. That was where the guards would take her. But when he got there, he found only bodies. 4 royal guards lay on the floor, wounded or worse. The door to the royal chambers was broken open. Inside, everything was destroyed, furniture smashed, curtains torn, glass everywhere. No Yuna, no queen, Do-hyun's heart was pounding so hard he could barely think. Then he heard something. A small voice, coming from the maintenance tunnels nearby. Do-hyun Appa? He spun around. There, at the entrance to a ventilation shaft, was Yuna. Her dress was torn. Her face was dirty with tears. But she was alive. Yuna! Do-hyun ran to her and dropped to his knees. Are you hurt? What happened? Bad people came, she whispered. Her whole body was shaking. They tried to take me. But I remembered what you said about the maintenance tunnels. I ran. I hid. She grabbed his shirt with both hands. I knew you would come. I knew it. Do-hyun held her tight. I am here now. I am not going anywhere. Another explosion shook the ship. Yuna screamed. We have to move, Do-hyun said. He picked up his tool bag from where he had dropped it and grabbed Yuna's hand. Stay close to me. Do not let go, no matter what. They moved through the maintenance tunnels. Do-hyun knew these paths better than anyone. He had spent 4 months fixing every pipe and wire in this section. He knew where to go, where to hide, where the enemies would not think to look. Behind them, he could hear voices. The Corvan soldiers were searching for them. She went this way. Someone shouted, Find the princess. Do-hyun moved faster. Yuna ran beside him, her small hand tight in his. She did not cry. She did not complain. She trusted him completely. They reached a junction where 3 tunnels met. Do-hyun stopped to listen. Footsteps were coming from the left and the right. Only the center tunnel was clear. This way, he whispered. They ran into the center tunnel and stopped. 3 Corvan soldiers stood in front of them. They were big and ugly, with scarred faces and weapons that glowed with deadly light. Their leader smiled, showing broken teeth. Found you, he said. Do-hyun pushed Yuna behind him. He looked at the soldiers. He had no weapon. He had no training. He had nothing but a tool bag and his own 2 hands. But he had something else too. He had a little girl standing behind him. A little girl who trusted him. A little girl who called him Appa. Stay behind me, he said. Do-hyun Appa, there are too many. I said stay behind me. The soldiers laughed. A human? Trying to play hero? The leader raised his weapon. Step aside, little man. We only want the girl. Do-hyun did not step aside. Instead, he grabbed a heavy wrench from his tool bag and faced the 3 soldiers. You want her, he said. You go through me. The first soldier attacked. He was fast, but Do-hyun was faster. He ducked under the swing and smashed his wrench into the soldier's knee. The alien screamed and fell. The second soldier fired his weapon. Do-hyun threw himself to the side. The shot missed him by inches. He grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed it in the soldier's face. The alien staggered back, blinded. The leader came at him with a knife. Do-hyun caught the blow on his arm. Pain exploded through his body. Blood ran down his sleeve. But he did not fall. He swung his wrench with all his strength and hit the leader in the head. The man dropped like a stone. Do-hyun stood there, breathing hard. His arm was bleeding. His whole body hurt. But all 3 soldiers were down. Then more footsteps came. Do-hyun turned, raising his wrench. But it was not more enemies. It was Captain Hai-jin. She led a squad of royal guards, and her face was fierce and determined. When she saw Do-hyun standing over the fallen soldiers, protecting the princess, her eyes went wide. Human, she whispered. You fought them? Alone? Do-hyun's legs gave out. He fell to his knees. Yuna rushed to him. Do-hyun Appa, you are hurt. I am okay, he said, even though he was not sure it was true. Are you safe? I am safe. You saved me. She was crying now, but she was smiling too. You saved me. An hour later, the attack was over. The Corvan soldiers were captured or dead. The ship was damaged but safe. And Do-yoon lay in the medical bay while Valori doctors fixed his wounds. Queen Sujin came to see him. She stood beside his bed and looked at him with eyes that were filled with emotion. "My guards told me what you did," she said quietly. "They said you fought 3 soldiers with nothing but tools. They said you stood in front of my daughter and refused to move." Do-hyun shrugged. It hurt to move. She was scared. "I could not let them take her. You could have died. I know." The queen was silent for a long moment. Then she did something no one expected. She bowed to him. The queen of the Valori Empire bowed to a human maintenance worker. "You have saved my daughter," she said. "You have the eternal gratitude of the Valori Empire. Name your reward. Anything you want, and it is yours." Do-yoon thought about it. He could ask for money. He could ask for power. He could ask to go home, but then he looked at Yuna, who was sitting beside his bed, holding his hand and refusing to let go. "Can I get a bigger room?" he said. "The ventilation in mine is really terrible." The queen stared at him. Yuna laughed, bright and happy. And after a moment, the queen laughed too. 6 months later, Kang Do-hyun was no longer a maintenance engineer. He had a new title now, guardian companion to Princess Yuna of the Valori Empire. It was a title that had never existed before. They made it just for him. He still fixed things sometimes. He still told Yuna stories about Earth, and every evening, he ate dinner with the queen and her daughter, like family. One night, as they walked through the royal garden under the light of distant stars, Queen Sujin spoke to him quietly. "You changed everything," she said. "You changed my daughter. You changed me. You changed how my people see humans." Do-hyun smiled. "I just did what any human would do." "Yes," the queen said. She looked at Yuna, who was running ahead of them, chasing a small flying creature through the flowers. "That is exactly the point." She turned to Do-hyun. "My people thought humans were dangerous because of your strength and your weapons. But that is not what makes you dangerous." She smiled, and there was warmth in her ancient eyes. "You are dangerous because you love without limit. You protect without thought for yourselves. You make people believe that things can be better." She put a hand on his shoulder. "That," she said, "is the most powerful thing in the universe." Do-hyun watched Yuna playing in the garden. He thought about his sister back home. He thought about his mother's cooking. He thought about all the humans scattered across the stars, just trying to do the right thing. Maybe they were not the strongest species in the galaxy. Maybe they were not the smartest or the oldest. But they had something else. Something special. They had heart, and sometimes that was enough.